I welcome you all to this 4-credit optional course, Women's History in India from earliest time to 17th century. Before I tell you about this course, let me introduce myself. I am Professor Rekha Pande, teaching in the Department of History in the University of Hyderabad. I have 38 years of teaching experience. I started my career by teaching in the University of Allahabad, and I did a large number of history courses. I also taught an optional course at International Institute of Information Technology on religious and cultural heritage. While this long teaching duration, I realize that our history is only talking about men. We have nothing about women, and therefore the main objective of this course is to highlight women's history. This course is designed to provide an opportunity to students to acquire an understanding about the status of women through the historical period, right from ancient period to 17th century, in relation to the larger development in the sphere of religion, polity, economy, and society. I hope such a study would enable one to understand the changes and the continuities in the lives of women. We would cover different kinds of aspects such as family, society, culture, religion, etc. Now, by and large, what I find is that women are ignored in history because there is an assumption that women did not play any part and they were behind the scenes. We continue to get only a partial picture of his story rather than her story. And I strongly believe, with a large number of other feminist historians, that unless we add her story to his story, our understanding of past will only be very biased, it would be partial, and we will never get our story. We primarily think that activities that are female are regarded as unimportant, they are unworthy of study, and they are outside the whole historical process. The general principle of a patriarchal society is that men work in the public domain and women are in the private. And it is always the public domain which is very important. History also deals with the public domain, and therefore women only become passive participants in the whole historical process. Our course would cover a period right from ancient period to pre-modern period. We have divided it into 6 units. The first unit is women's history and patriarchy. Second would be looking at women in ancient societies. The third would be looking at women in medieval India. Next segment would look at religion and women. The fifth on institution and structures related to women. And the last and the sixth one on women, culture, and representation. In the first unit on women's history and patriarchy, we begin with an introduction to women's history. What is it? Why do we think it is necessary? We look at the construction of patriarchy through the historical background. We look at it in the West as well as in India. And in the second unit, in ancient India, we look at writings on women, the debates that took place on the status of women, role of women in the family, rituals, samskars, what was the legal and economic status of women. We also look at Buddhism and the role women played in it. The third unit would look at women in medieval India, where we look at the coming of Islam, what impact Islam had on Indian culture. We look at royal women, we look at women in the courts. Temples also played a very important role, so we look at women in the temples. The fourth unit would focus primarily on religion, where we look at Hinduism and women. We discuss in detail about the Bhakti women. We look at women Bhaktas in Karnataka, Kashmir. We look at Akka Mahadevi, Lal Ded. We also look at women Bhaktas in Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra. Women saints like Ganga Sati, Sant Toral, Mirabai, Janabai, Bahinabai. Then we also look at Sufism and the role women played in it. Our unit 5 would consist of looking at certain institutions such as Parda, looking at women and the haram. We would look at the institution of Devdasis, we would look at courtesans and prostitute. The last 6th unit would focus on women, culture and representation, where we look at art and architecture both in North and South India and how women are represented in these. We also focus on the public and private aspects of women, and we end this course by a discussion on our learnings. I hope that at the end of this course, students will be able to understand about the rich scholarly literature that is available on histories of women right across the period and the different geographical region. It would cover a period from ancient to medieval times, and we would explore the experiences of women which helped to shape our present today. The course would explore feminist methodology and gender analysis as a tool for historians, and it would explore women's history in relations to men's history. I hope through the successful completion of this course, we would demonstrate a knowledge of the themes and topics related to women's history, different chronological periods, different geographical region. This course would become a foundation to have another course where we look at a different chronological period. So I wish you all the best. Thank you.